Ah, yes.
Today we're going to be continuing from our class on the concise presentation of the Fiqh. Today is episode 52 of the class, and we'll be starting a new topic today, which is the topic of marriage. Today is the 11th of October, and also the night of the 29th of Rabee Al-Awwal. And we are going from page 367 of the book.
What's the date in English?
11th of October.
Yes. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. We welcome you back on the class. We are going to be starting, you could say, the chapter or a course onto the marriage. And this will involve the marriage and also the opposite of the marriage, which is the divorce. And also we'll talk about all these marriages which are not valid in Islam. And we also going to be talking about the etiquette of fixing the problems between husbands and wives. So first of all, we're going to be just having some sort of reading, reciting. Not everything we're going to be reading. I'll be just doing most of the talk, inshallah. So just start to say what is the page number, please.
Page number is 367, chapter 7, marriage. Marriage is one of the most emphasized practices of the messengers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, and indeed,
وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلًا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ أَزْوَاجًا وَذُرِّيَّةً.
And indeed we sent messengers before you, O Muhammad, and made them wives and offspring.
Right. So this is to show us that the marriage is from the most assured and emphasized sunnah of the prophets, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, we have sent messengers before you, O Muhammad, and we have given them spouses and offsprings. Now, here it says emphasize, but some of the scholars, they said it is compulsory for every person who's able to get married, that is financially or physically, or he is capable in all directions. So it is compulsory upon him because of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is going to be in this introduction, where it says, Ya ma'shar al-shabab, O assembly of the youth, who is capable of you to get married. Capability here includes financial, physical, social. Then let him do so. So let him do so is a command. For very, it lowers the gaze and protects the private parts. And he who is not capable, then let him fast, for it is a wija, a protection. There is a prohibition from Islam onto celibacy. Celibacy means a person stays without marriage, which we call it in Arabic at-tabattul, meaning that you are not willing to marry while you have the capability of marriage. So this person, he wants to make himself an ascetic or abid worshipper, devoted to the worship, and then he does not marry. That is not recommended. It is disliked and it's prohibited. If he takes it as a sign of religion or something to worship Allah with, then the Prophet of Allah in the hadith, which is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim, where the three people came to the wives of the Prophet of Allah asking about his ibadah. And when they were told about the ibadah of the Prophet, they said maybe it's not that much, but he doesn't need to do that much ibadah because the Prophet of Allah has a guarantee from the Almighty that his sins in the past and in the future are forgiven. So first one, he said, as for me, I pray and I don't sleep. So he takes his ibadah of non-stop of praying. And the other person, he said that I fast and I don't break my fast. I mean, he breaks the fast during the days which are prohibited to fast, like the days of the Eid, but every possible fast or allowed fast in the year, he would fast it. And he does not break the fast. And the third one, he said, I don't marry women. So those three people had taken a type of worship to get closer to Allah, which hasn't been authorized by the Prophet. And they thought maybe they need to compensate in order for their sins to be forgiven, to make such a ibadah. So the Prophet of Allah, when he heard about this, he ascended the pulpit and addressed the believers, the mu'mins, and he said, verily, Ama inni akhshakum lillahi wa atqakum lah. He made a sermon, means like a khutbah, a speech. Verily, I am more fearful to Allah than any one of you, and I have more piety than more than anybody of you. But I pray and I sleep and I fast and I break my fast, and I marry the women, and he was not having to embark upon my sunnah, and it's not from me. So this is a prohibition from the Islam to take celibacy as a type of ibadah. As for the scholars who had died without marrying, like Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he did not intend not to get married, but he was a busy person from not just ibadah, gaining the knowledge. He was in prison, and in prison a number of times, at least twice. So he put the Ibn Taymiyyah, if he had the opportunity to get married, he would get married. So don't take him as a role model for you. And not only that, Islam makes the priority for the marriage onto the Hajj if the person, he was afraid to fall into fornication. So when it comes to the money that you have saved and you have only one of the two to do, which is Hajj, and this is the Hajj of your lifetime, and then the marriage. So if this person cannot control himself, and he might fall into fornication or haram, then marriage takes precedence. And marriage takes precedence. Now, the marriage is based upon the love from one person to another, or a person accepting the other person. But as for the extreme love, I don't know what do you call that in English. We call it in Arabic al-ishq. I don't know if that word in English has got a proper translation.
Infatuation.
They said that, infatuation, but I don't know. And ishq is a person, he would say, I will die for you. I will die for you. If you die, and if my wife dies, she kills herself, I'll kill myself with her. Okay, so that's called ishq. And the ishq is one of the diseases of the hearts. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he spoke about it in the story of the wife of Al-Aziz, when she was in the ishq of Yusuf alayhi salam. He spoke about it in the story of the wife of Al-Aziz. So the ishq basically preoccupies the heart from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's a punishment that you're going to have no reward for it. And it will make the person fall into humiliation and also disobeying the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why the Prophet he said, أحبب حبيبك هونا ما عسى أن يكون بغيضك يوما. Love your lover, a moderate love, an easygoing love, is not extreme love, because maybe one day he will turn to be your enemy. Same thing, hate your enemy in a moderate way. Don't hate him to extreme, because he might turn to be your friend one day. So also, some people, they just wait for the marriage until they get the certificate, and once they get the certificate of undergraduate, they go to postgraduate, and after postgraduate, they go to PhD, and that is not really as well from the Sunnah, because you see the person, especially if he's living in a place where he's going to be vulnerable, and he might fall into the haram, waiting for these certificates to be finished. Allahu A'lam, when you're going to finish. Maybe you're going to finish your deen before you finish, certificates. So the best of the person is once he's, having this opportunity, as I said. And marriage, as we're going to talk about, marriage is not really something that you need to prepare every single bit of money, because the people make it really so difficult. Make it as well unreachable to the youth these days, with this unimaginable dowry that they set on conditions and all of that. Why should we make such condition? When the person wants to get married, they have to impose upon him to hire a hall. God knows how much is the hall. And on top of that, hire a caterer. The caterer, how much? God knows how much he's going to be paying per head. That is why the number is always limited. Brothers, accept the invitation, because if you're not going to accept the invitation, you're going to lose £25 or £30 per head. SubhanAllah. This is the case, unfortunately, this day, which is not like before. People, just like, come to the tent. You bring in your family and you bring all your kids, no problem. But these days, it's very hard to do that. So that's the barakah has gone away from such a marriage. Fine. We come now to, after we have finished this title, we go to which one of the women is to be better. Read that, please.
What woman is best to marry? If someone wants to get married, he should seek a woman who has following qualities.
Right. The following quality is based upon number of ahadith. First one comprises 4 characteristics. One of them is the one that is the Prophet of Allah told us to aim for. Hadith says, Hadith Abi Hurairah, that the woman is to be married for 4 purposes. One, her wealth. Other one, her lineage, that means her tribe, where she comes from. Third one is her beauty. And the fourth one is her deen. The deen, of course, include the manners. So he says, go get and aim for the last one, which is the one who's got the deen. If she's got the beauty and the wealth, and she's got the honor of her lineage, but yet her deen is not there, she's going to give you trouble. She's going to give you a headache. You would have said to yourself, I made a mistake. This woman, she's going to be a headache for me because of her beauty. And so many people had done such a thing, and they have ended up, as I said, in a place where they don't want to be there. I know one of them said, I married the most beautiful woman, and every time he goes, subhanAllah, he carries a picture of it. Look at the wife. Look at that. And he ended up divorcing her, and he lost his money because of this. Talking about Muslim people. Right. So these are the 4 characteristics. It's no problem to have 4 of them. Our Sheikh Mashhur used to say to us that the first thing when you look at a person, because you're not going to have your religion to know her religion straight away, that the first thing will attract you normally is her beauty, that she is appealing to you. So if that is the case, then go ahead and ask for the religion. Because there's no such thing if she's ugly. Let me look for her religion. If she looks ugly to you, her religion maybe is not going to compensate for that. And they're going to be all the time, looking for another one. Okay, so the first thing would appeal for you, when you see a woman, because you don't know her about her status, you don't know about her money, wealth, you know about what? Her face. So if you see the face, if it appeals to you, then you could ask about the deen. Don't ask about the issues to do with the lineage or to do with the wealth. That is a bonus. But that thing attracts you, because of the Sahaba, when they see a woman, they're like, let's start searching. And they are in pursuit. They will see that woman, where she belongs to, who is her father. Like Uthayna bint al-Dhahhak, Muhammad ibn Qais used to follow her when she was on top of the roof. So one of the followers who came in the era after the companions, he saw this companion and said, you do this and you are one of the companions of the Prophet of Allah. So what? Prophet of Allah, he said, if you want to marry someone, that means you have the intention, genuine intention, to go and marry her, then look at the thing that would invite you to marry her. So what is that thing that you want to see in her? For example, is she tall or not? Is she short or not? She's chubby, is she not? She's thin. She's even if you have seen her, which is off her guard, meaning that she has no hijab. As long as you had the intention to marry. So that is not with preparation. This is sneaky. So she was passing, on top of the roof, and she's putting, for example, the clothes on top of their line, the wires, and the washing line, and you just saw her there, and even with not her hijab, because you're looking for long hair, you're looking for curly hair. People's got their own taste, basically. And لولا الأذواق لبارت الأسواق. Had it been for the taste, there would be no markets. Because of the taste and the different taste between the people, there's no market. So whatever is appealing to you, maybe it's not appealing to somebody else. So if you are having that intention, genuine intention, no problem. So again, as I said, the first thing that will attract you is her beauty. Now coming to the second one, which is to be virgin. Because the virgin is always more of a shy woman than the one which is not. عليكم بالأبكار, Prophet said, فإنهن أعذب أفواه وأنتق أرحاما وأرضى باليسير. For verily, they are sweet in the way they talk, because they will be shy and they will choose the words perfectly, and they will not be pushing a word which you're not going to like, because they're just haven't really dealt yet with the men. They're very shy, and also they will be more of producing the children, and also they will be satisfied with the little. They're not going to ask like the one who's got experience, has married before. I made a mistake before, I want more. Okay, she will be satisfied with less. I'm not talking about the dawah and everything in the life. She will be satisfied with anything. So this is a general, you could say, prompting from the Prophet ﷺ. قال عليكم بالأبكار. But if the person wanting really to marry somebody who's been married before for a certain reason, maybe has a better choice. And this is the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah. Jabir ibn Abdullah, his father is Abdullah ibn Haram. He was martyred in the battle of Uhud. And he told his son, I could see myself being killed in the first people going to be killed in this battle. You have 7 or 9 sisters, depending upon the hadith and the narration. You've got 7 or 9 sisters, you have to look after them. So as soon as the battle started, Abdullah ibn Haram, radiallahu anhu, he had died. And he was killed, he was martyred. And Jabir used to cry, and his aunties used to tell him off for crying. The Prophet said, let him cry. Then after that, he got married later on. Prophet he passed by him. Did you get married, Jabir? Oh, Jabir, did you get married? He said, yes, Messenger of Allah. He said, a bikr. This is like a virgin, تلاعبها تلاعبك, and she cuddles you, you cuddle her. He said, Messenger of Allah, I have sisters, and they are as young as the virgin I'm gonna be married. So if I bring another one, they're gonna be fighting with each other and competing with another. I looked for somebody who's more experienced, like somebody who's married before, so she could really take care of my sister. Then the Prophet of Allah said, well done. If it is the case, mashallah, tabarakallah, you have made the best or the better choice. So he had Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu, he had basically overlooked what the desires of every youth, which is to marry somebody who's young and virgin, overlooked that and sacrificed that for the sake of what? Looking after his sisters. He got married somebody who is more of, I would say, mature, more of responsible, because she's a woman to be married, maybe she had children before, so she's more experienced, basically. The third characteristics he's mentioned here is to be a woman who produces children. Well, how can I know that without trying it out? To produce children. That means to produce, not, I'm just saying she's a barren or not. I'm talking about that she's willing to go ahead with, more children. Because some of the sisters, if you marry, she's going to get 1 or 2. That's it, finish. End of story. So here, he said to marry the one that produces the children. How do I know that? Anybody wants to tell me, how do I know that I want to marry somebody who is producing children? What is the thing that's going to invite me? Hi, Omar. Very good. The habits of their family. So if she comes from, for example, her brother's about 10 and her sister about 20, whatever, you will know that she comes from a family she got used to how to produce children. If she comes from a family where her father and her mother and her grandfather, grandmother, all of them produce one, you're going to end up with one. If you're going to have another one, she will say, sorry, this is not something that we got used to it in the family. So that is, you look at the background of the family. How do they look at these things? And that's why تزوج الولود الودود فإني مكاثر بكم الأمم يوم القيامة. I'm going to be boasting about you in this dunya. Subhanallah. So it's called manpower. The other issue as well, which is not mentioned in the book, is that she is a woman who is in charge or responsible for her children and responsible for her husband. And again, that can be known from the family environment, how her mother, she looks after her brothers and sisters. So the family, usually it is the case in the Arab world a long time ago, when a woman, she wants to have a sister, girl for her, for her son, she herself will go to visit that family, and she will see how the family, cooperate and talk to each other and communicate. And on top of that, she will go deliberately to the toilet, because with his weather, they will see that if the mother, she cleans the house properly, the toilet. تعرف الحكي هذا. Yes, he's shaking his in Arabic. See, he'll go to the toilet, see that in the toilet, and she will go, and it's a surprise, not just after the prep. That she clean the toilet, that means her daughters will be the same thing. So the woman, she will make sure that this girl who's going to be transferred to her house to be a spouse for her son is a woman who is going to be responsible. A woman, she is looking after the house. Also, from these things, you could really choose as well, as I said, to choose the one which is, beautiful for yourself, the one which is appealing to you, as I said, because this will actually help you to lower your gaze. Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal. Okay, Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal. So if you've seen the woman, you're not sure, go and see her again. So sit down with her mahram and have a talk with her. If you're not sure, come back again. But don't do it that much. I mean, خلاص, if you have enough, that's it. You have to make a decision. We're going to see what. So see her, look at her. انظر إليها. Look at her. Look at her eyes. Look. This is the things you're going to be your spouse and your wife. فإنه أحرى أن يؤذن بينكم. This will create the love in between you and her. Now we come to the following title.
What man is best to marry?
Okay, who's the best of the men to be married? Okay, well, the Prophet ﷺ, he had said the following hadith, which is important, that if someone who comes to you, whom you are satisfied with his religion, satisfied with his manners, then make sure that you give him the option or the offer to marry. I'm not saying that she should accept him. Okay, he's good man and he's good manners and he's mashallah. But the woman, she looked at him, she didn't like him. It's up to her. She didn't like him because of certain things. Maybe he's not really, he's not shy, or he's shy too much, or whatever. He's not a person who can be fit for her. It's up to her to decide this, but not based upon that, oh, he's bankrupt. I don't want to see him. He's a person who's got, like for example, he's not from such and such branch of a family. No, first of all, see, and then accept or not accept. But based upon that hasn't got a proper nice car, that's not correct. Illa taf'alu, if you don't do that, you're going to be having a fitna, corruption in the land. No harm for the person to present his daughter or his sister to someone whom he thinks is a good candidate. It's very good. So there's no shame about this. Because some people think this is shame. How can I produce my goods to other people to purchase? And if you do that, your goods will go lower in price. You understand that? And if you are to sell it to you, that's not correct. Not all the way it's correct. So the person can ask if one تعال قرب شوي. Very well. Get closer to the brother. Get closer, continue to be closer, because it's not right. Because I know the shaitan plays around and was scattered, inshallah. So the person, no problem for him to go and see a brother, I've got a daughter and I've got a sister. If you're interested, this is very good. And this happens a number of times. For example, Hadith Abdullah ibn Umar. Can you wait for that for us, please? Ibn Umar, he says, just.
Ibn Umar narrated that when Hafsa bint Umar radiallahu anhu was withered by the death of Qunais ibn.
So she was a widow. She lost her husband, Hafsa bint Umar, yes.
Umar ibn Abi said, I came to Uthman ibn Affan and offered him Hafsa.
Remember, Uthman is married. So he offered Uthman the hands of his daughter after she had lost her husband. So he said,
I will look into the matter.
So he looked into the matter. Give me time to think about it.
After some nights, he came to him and said, I decided that I will not get married during these days. Umar said, I then met Abu Bakr.
So he just said, I don't want to get married. Khalas. He just declined the offer. Now he met Abu Bakr.
And he said, if you wish, I will marry you to Hafsa bin Umar. Abu Bakr remained silent and did not respond at all. I was more upset with him than I was with Uthman.
But why he's upset with him? Because he did not reply to him, whether it's positive or negative. He didn't say to him yes or no. He made him suspended, hooked. Whereas Uthman, he gave him the answer. Even if it's a negative, no, but he's happy. But now Abu Bakr is just like you're not giving him anything. So he was really a bit enraged about it. Now, then
after some nights, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam proposed to her, and I married her off to him.
So Prophet Sallallahu asked for a hand from Umar, and Umar straight away gave the hand of Hafsa to be the wife of the Prophet. Then
Abu Bakr then met me and said, perhaps you were upset with me when you offered Hafsa to me, and I did not respond at all. Umar said, yes, indeed. Abu Bakr then said, nothing prevented me from responding to what you offered me, except that I knew that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had mentioned her. I thought I was not about to spread the Messenger of Allah's secret. If the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not marry her, I would have done so.
Look at that. Look, that's why Abu Bakr is the best of companions. Prophet of Allah, soon as Hafsa, she became a widow, she has no husband. He mentioned her in front of Abu Bakr, as in, I'd like to marry her. So that Abu Bakr considered this like an engagement, even though the Prophet did not talk to Umar. yet. He just mentioned that in front of Abu Bakr, because Abu Bakr, remember, he is the father-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ. His wife, his daughter is with the Prophet ﷺ, Aisha. So that was a secret. Abu Bakr did not say it, but he kept it to himself. So when Umar came to Abu Bakr, offering the hand of his daughter to him, he didn't say to him, well, I'm not going to say anything because the Prophet mentioned to him, because he doesn't know the Prophet is going to go ahead with it or not. But he didn't answer him, waiting for the decision of the Prophet. When the Prophet had gone ahead with what he had said to Abu Bakr and asked for her hand, then he went to Umar to clarify the situation in order that there would be no grudge or sort of anger or upset between Abu Bakr and Umar. He said to him, had it been that the Prophet of Allah didn't want her, I would have married her, but I will never disclose the secret. I would never allow myself to disclose the secret of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right. Now we're coming to النظر إلى المخطوبة. تفضل.
Looking at the proposed spouse. If someone is considering proposing to a woman, it is sanctioned for him to look at her before he proposes to her.
And this is hadith of Hadith Muhammad ibn Maslama. I would like you to read it. I have narrated it from my memory. You go and read it, inshallah.
I proposed to a woman, so I started to conceal myself from her until I saw her in her date palms. It was
concealing, like I'm hide. I hide from her. Just want to see that she goes there. Let's look at her. So she's not knowing that I am actually chasing her up now.
It was said to him, "You do that while you are a companion of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." He replied, "I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, if Allah puts into the heart of a man the idea of proposing to a woman, there is no harm if he takes a look at her."
Okay. Right. So the consensus is that we're not allowed to look except to the face and the hands. That is, sorry, the consent with no arrangement. So if you arrange to see her, you only can see the face and the hands. But without an arrangement like Muhammad bin Maslama, you can see whatever you're able to see. Okay, so without her knowing, you could see whatever is presented to you. But if you arrange to see her with her maharam or with her mother, you cannot see more than the hands and the face. And if I want to tell you some of the madhahib of this, some madhahib like Madhab Imam Ahmad said you could see, look at her hair with the arrangement. She could take off her hijab, which has got the proof for that. And Ibn Hazm gone further than that. You could see her with no clothes on. That is not absolutely not acceptable. So we say that the correct opinion is that what Muhammad bin Maslama had done, he was chasing her up, hiding for her. She can't see him. Okay, when he's looking, and then as soon as he saw her, and then somebody said to him, "Do this with the Prophet of Allah? You're chasing up women like that?" He said, "No. Prophet of Allah said, if you want to marry a woman, then there's no harm for you to go and look for something that makes you marry her, encourages you to marry her. No problem, inshallah." Fine. Also, Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah, he said,
I came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and mentioned to him a woman that I had proposed to. He said, "Go and look at her, as this is more likely to produce affection between the two of you."
Yeah, look at her eyes. Okay, فانظر إليها فإن في أعين الأنصار شيئا. Look in the eyes of the Ansar. There's something that makes, maybe she's small, she's young, very young. Look at her properly to make sure. So it is. We say it's allowed with arrangement to talk to her, but not on her own. She has to have somebody. But the talking with her as well. How long? Because some of the sisters, she said, "I want to grill him." Not the brother grilling the sister. No, the sister, you want to grill the man. I want to grill him. Grill him what? Nobody would be able to know everything about the other party. No way in 1, 2, 3 gathering until you get together, and then you see. So it's like a watermelon. You don't know what's inside. Is it red? Not red. If it's red, is it sweet or not sweet? Allahu Alam. But I could just do the best of things to make sure that I would minimize the shock if I'm going to see a shock. That is, the watermelon, we tap on it. The people buy watermelons in our country, they keep banging. Ding, dang, ding. By the sound, they know that this is good watermelon or not. I was doing this in Asda, and one lady, she came, she was laughing her head off. What do you think? She's a pregnant woman or something? Yeah. I said, no, no, this is something that we do, and we actually masters in this because we're doing it for a long time, a lot of times. So when my Imam he passed by, I said to him, "I get you this one." So he got it. He said, "He's the best watermelon I've ever had." I said, "Yeah, I know, because of the sound. There's a sound comes from it that's distinguished from the other sound that you're not going to ask me later on to go and buy you watermelon." Right. So this is the same thing with the as well. The husband can do as much as he can as a homework. What is her family? Where she's studying? How would you go to the masjid? Ask the sheikh, reference and okay. And the same thing with the man, and ask about her, the reference and all of that. But to know her inside out, no. For very the Prophet Umar ibn Khattab asked about a person. Somebody said, "I know him." Oh, what do you mean? You saw him maybe in the masjid bowing and coming. That doesn't, you don't know him. Did you deal with him, dirham with dinar, gave him money, gave it back to you? Did you travel with him? Even that is better. A safar journey in Arabic means exposure. A safar yusfiru an akhlaq rijal. It will expose the reality of the person. You will know him. How does he react when you travel with him? Wallahi. You will, all of that cat sort of show that he shows you the normal life, then the underneath beast will come out when you're traveling. You will see, oh, I never knew he's like this, because he snaps. When he's pushed, he snaps. That's when you know him very well. So as I said, you do your best. But to say that I'm going to meet him twice and 3 times and 4 times, or somebody to meet him 5, 6 times, and after 10 times, I don't want him. I mean, what's the point? Or worse, when the man asking for this, and you're looking at the girl and the girl and the girl, and then he tells her father, "I don't want her." How disappointing is it? Well, what is it that you found out after 10 times? What is it? Oh, she doesn't like curry. That's why. It could be as simple as that. They go into the details, what type of food you want to eat, what type of, they go in that details are not needed, Ikhwani. Because she doesn't like curry, she will cook curry later on if you teach her. That's nothing really a big problem. It's not a big problem to stop. This is not, I'm not joking. Wallah, this is true. That's because of a simple little thing, the whole thing will be called off. Okay. So I would say you will never know the person. As long as you know the frame is good, alhamdulillah, khalas, go ahead. طيب. After this, alhamdulillah, we will say, okay, marrying now young, because it's not in our book, we have to add it. Marrying the young. And Prophet ﷺ, you know that he had married with Aisha, and he had intercourse with her when she was 9 years old. Now, in the country that we live, you need to know that marriage is not allowed. It's illegal unless she is 18 years old. It's just a new law has been passed just last April as well, that even if she was 16 before, if she was 16 and her parents accept, then the marriage can go ahead. But now it is not allowed. It's illegal. Imprisonment of 7 years plus a fine. So you're not allowed to marry a girl because you are in the law of the country. And by the way, this country is not just in its own, even some of the Muslim countries at the moment, they wouldn't allow the marriage. For example, in my country, Jordan, it's not allowed until she's 18, except if it's a special case, she could marry even if she is 16 or 15 even plus, as long as the judge accepts because of special cases. But normally it is, say, what about you in Algeria? ما تعرف. Anybody other country knows? تفضل تعرف. Is that? But I'm just saying, some of the Muslim countries, they're passing the same thing. So we have to abide by that law. But Islamically, we're talking about, now, what is the age of the marriage regarding the woman? The man has to be an adult. The man has to be an adult. The woman, Islam does not make it as a condition that she's to be an adult. Islam makes it a condition that this woman, she knows what is marriage. What is the marriage? She knows what is entertaining the husband. She knows it. And also she's a woman who has the capability, the capacity, and the power to take the intercourse of the man. And that's why even in the reports I've read for the non-Muslim, they say A girl who is chubby, she's mature more than the one which is thin. Can be able to take the intercourse. The difference between the size as well plays a big role. And as I said, Islam allows it as long as the woman, she can take the intercourse, and the second thing, that she knows what is marriage all about. Otherwise, the marriage contract is void. It's not allowed. Right. We got only 2 minutes have left. This is for the adhan and the iqam and the salah. And after the, inshallah, the prayer will have only questions. All right? For another 10 minutes. Okay. Subhanakallah bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Done quickly because we don't want to delay the people. Don't delay. Start 15 past. Come on. The question session regarding what we have heard, and that was the beginning of the chapter of the marriage. Any person got a question regarding the marriage, please go ahead. If you haven't got about the marriage, then doesn't matter whether the question is going to be about divorce. So please go ahead and let's just invest in the next 10 minutes. I need to leave by 8:40. Anybody got a question here? Fadda?
Can you tell us about some of the rights of the husband and the wife?
Can I tell you some of the rights of the husband and the rights of the wives? I would recommend for you, inshallah, to come to 3 classes after this, and we will talk about it in detail, because talking about this issue is not just a 10 minutes talk. It's actually a full class where we're going to go through the obligations on the husband and obligations upon the wife, and also the rights of the husband and the right. And each one has to respect the other. We're going to go through the ayat and the verses, but in general, each one has rights and obligations. Definitely the rights of the husband are more than the rights of the wife in terms of which one's supposed to satisfy the other. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when Mu'adh ibn Jabal came from Bilad al-Sham, and as soon as he saw the Prophet of Allah prostrating to him, he saw the Prophet of Allah, he prostrated to him. So the Prophet of Allah said to him, "Why did you do this, Mu'adh?" He said, "Messenger of Allah, I saw the Batariqa, those who are the people in Bilad al-Sham, they prostrate to their monarchs, they prostrate to their priests and all of that. And I don't think there's anybody more deserved to be prostrated to than yourself." So the Prophet of Allah, he said, "Don't do that." Even though it's an act of kufr, but there was an interpretation for that, because Mu'adh did not intend to make kufr. He thought this is okay. So he said, if I want to command anybody to prostrate to anybody, I would have commanded the wife to prostrate to her husband. That is to show you the big obligations and the duty upon the wife towards her husband. But it doesn't mean that she hasn't got duty, she hasn't got rights herself, and the husband hasn't got duties towards her. But I'm just saying in general, Wallahu a'lam. Jazakallah khair for that question. But as I said, come in 2 or 3 classes, you will find us talking about this topic in details. But anybody else?
Sure.
Tfaddal. Yes, I'm listening, inshallah.
Is there a certain age when the parents should start encouraging their children to?
Is there any certain age where the parents should be encouraging their children to get married? Yeah, it depends upon when they start to encourage them, upon them getting ready, and the parents are ready to support their children. So there's no harm for the father to support if he's, financially capable, to support his son, and also to support his daughters for getting married. Once they start to know about this, basically about the life, then it's good to, give them the Islamic values. Because, these days it's allowed for them to tell them about the gender change when they are what? How long? They're very young. So it doesn't mean that we're not allowed to tell them about the marriage as well, which is a proper, relationship between husband and a wife. We tell them that once you are ready, because you're not allowed, we said, to marry younger than 18. And that is the law. We have to abide by the law as long as you're living in this country. And you go to another country, but there's a different law. So this is 18, but there's no harm for you to teach them about the marriage, just like we teach them about the prayer before the prayer becomes compulsory upon them. Education is very important. Fine.
I was going to ask about the first man to marry your daughter, the section. and it mentions about the character and the religion of the man. There's no mention of wealth or occupation or anything like this. Because there's a common thing that people ask, that the man has to be able to look after the woman financially.
Yes. Right. So the hadith, when we talked about who is the best of the men, it talks about the manners and the deen, but it doesn't talk about the money. Well, the same thing for the women to look for. It doesn't talk about the money, but he said, the Prophet of Allah, that the women usually and normally it is to be married because she is wealthy. You know, if she's a millionaire, everybody wants her. Usually, but it's not you look for the money. But no harm as well for the person to make sure that the husband is a proper candidate. Like, for example, he's too old for my daughter. And that's why the Prophet of Allah, when he had Abu Bakr and Umar asking for the hand of his daughter, Fatima, he said, she's young. As soon as Ali came in, radiallahu anhu, he accepted. Because Ali is a similar age. He's a bit just older than her. But Abu Bakr and Umar, he just said, he's still young. There's a difference between Abu Bakr and Umar and Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, a huge difference. So also that the Prophet, when one of the women she had, her husband had died, so she wanted now to have some people to marry her. Two people came to her. One is called Muawiyah, radiallahu anhu, and the other one was called as well Abu Jahl bin Safwan. And the Prophet ﷺ was consulted regarding these two by this woman. She said, don't marry any. Why? Because Abu Jahl is always carrying his stick. That means he always hits the woman. It's not good. It's not good for the woman. The other one, Su'luk la malala. He got no money. So again, she says, no money. She's got no money. So, Ankihi Zaydan. Ankihi Usama, sorry. Marry Usama. Usama, by the way, he was black. And the woman, she was white. Usama, his father is blonde, and his wife is black. So Ankihi Usama. So she straight away accepted the offer and the nasiha, the advice of the Prophet. So yes, I wouldn't say that not to accept him because he's not a millionaire. But if he's got financially, he's okay, capable of spending money on the spouse, yeah. But if he's a person who's on the dole, not willing to work, how can I give my daughter to him? I'm not going to be her. Well, she's going to be on the social. I'm not going to put her on the social. So I will make sure that, but as I said, people actually require more. They ask for more than that. They're asking, as I said, before you come to talk to us, put 10,000 in your pocket. Where's he going to get the 10,000 from? Let him spend it. So 10,000 is going to be gone what? For boasting and for halls and all of that. You know, to spend on the hall. I mean, why did the 10,000 just get a hall for less than 1,000? There's halls, you know, community halls. Khalas. And make this marriage, inshallah, a bit barakah. So the money issue is there, but it's not as the people makes it really big thing. You know, in Saudi Arabia, there's some Saudi people that come and look for women here to marry because it's cheap for them. Yeah, of course it's cheap, but I don't like that word cheap here as well. Somebody comes in and he's mashallah engineer and working and then he get the marriage. I'm going to offer a dowry of 500. No, brother, 500 you can buy some cokes with it and peanuts. 500 is not correct. The Prophet ﷺ at that time he had more than that. He asked for more than this. 12 ounces of gold. So 3,000, 4,000. This is the dawah. It's for her. This is her money. Okay. So this is for her. We're not asking for a house or maybe just to rent. No problem. Maybe with your mother, your father, you live. No problem. But we're asking, this is her dawah. So unless you're not financially capable, there's something else. But some people, they got financially capable and they don't give the proper dawah. They give peanuts. If you get peanuts, you get monkeys. If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. It's not correct. My daughter is not that cheap. So some of the Saudi they come here because they're running from the hilarious prices for their marriages. Do you know how much is their marriage minimum there? You're talking about 40K, 40,000 minimum, just to get married to a woman there. That's no wonder why they go and look for outside. So it's huge, man, because they boast about it. My marriage is more than yours, and my tent is bigger than yours, and Allah understand. Now, anybody else?
What's your view about marriages through dating websites? It's not some Muslim one. dating website, and some of them even they talk through Skype, WhatsApp.
Okay, is it marriage website? Marriage website in general, if you ask me, it's allowed. But you're going to ask me about details about particular ones, then first of all, passing pictures is not correct.
When they start speaking to each other.
Starting speaking to each other through a person with a third party from the wali of the woman, like her father, like her son, she's got a son, it's like her brother, no problem. She could speak on the video if the person is not available, in this country. But if he's available in this country, you have to, is it far distance? Because sometimes if it's far distance, we say it's acceptable. Because we don't want this person to start to video and record the video of that whole sister. Okay, and then hold it on her. It's not correct. But if you see this trustworthy man and he's far away to see, and he wants to see on the video, initial call, and he maybe could bring a person with him, an imam, to make sure that he is or another person who's trustworthy to be with him, and then he could talk to the girl while you are present, and they ask each other questions. No problem, inshallah. Khalwa is in general that if you talk to the woman, there's no third parties listening. That's khalwa. Whether it is, even if you are in a car and the windows are transparent, so everybody can see what's going on inside. But you can talk to her without nobody can hear you. That's called khalwa. At work, yeah, at work, if you are in a department where its doors is locked and you could talk to the women, that becomes a khalwa. So you have to really minimize as much as they can. Minimize. It's just not to do with the doors is not locked. No, that doesn't mean you need that. Khalwa is more than that. I could grab something and do something quickly before the door is open. But as I said, oh yes. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم.
Brothers will carry on inshallah spending 30. So come and